and wonderful opportunity. Our Lieutenant Governor, Gavin Newsom, has dropped by, and he's here and he wants to say a few words.
Well, it's good to be here. I was just driving by. This is fabulous.
Lucky for us.
I got a book, but this is, a couple of thoughts. I'm very passionate about the issue of marriage equality, as some of you may know. And I'm passionate about people that step up and step in. I'm passionate about people that just don't accept the prevailing wind. That people are willing to challenge things that they see are wrong and to right those wrongs. You know, it wasn't that long ago, in 1967, a guy named Richard Loving did the same thing when he said two fateful words, "I do," to Mildred Jeter, someone he had fallen in love with. A judge in Virginia sentenced him to 1 year in prison for saying, "I do." 1967, 16 states denied interracial marriage. And the judge, I say this with all the love in my heart and respect as a proud Jesuit, Santa Clara University, Notre Dame de Victoire, young French-trained Jesuit. The judge, when he sentenced Richard to 1 year in prison, said the following. He said, "God, sir, God put different races on different continents for a reason. God never wanted the races to mix." By the way, I'm paraphrasing, but in essence, that's what the judge said in sentencing Richard to a year in jail. He decided to continue the fight and went to the Supreme Court, the famous Loving versus Virginia, and they threw out those laws denying interracial marriage in those 16 states. Again, not 1927, not 1930 or 57, 1967. We look back, and a backdrop of that year, by the way, where 70% of Americans, 70% of Americans opposed interracial marriage. The court stepped up and stepped in, and they righted that wrong. The point is leadership. People that have the courage of their convictions and the love in their heart, particularly for a son, a loved one, a family member. And what a wonderful example that you're celebrating here tonight of someone that moved his heart by taking action and stepped up and did the right thing. And by the grace of God, that wrong was righted. And you're here to celebrate that in this remarkable journey on someone defrocked that actually months later they realize, you know what, we've got more important things to do in life. We should be focusing on what binds us together, not all those interesting differences. So I'm just here to thank Frank. Pastor, thank you for your courage, your leadership. Thank you to your son, who I imagine has taught you more lessons than all of us could ever imagine. And thank for him for his courage and for his example. And to all of you that I imagine are here because you're celebrating with him this remarkable moment and his remarkable life. So thank you all very, very much for that as well.
Well, good evening, everyone. It's exciting to see so many of you here. And on behalf of LGBTQ Trinity, I want to welcome you and, of course, welcome Reverend Frank for coming to address us this evening. For those of you who are unaware of what LGBTQ Trinity is, it was a committee that was formed here at Trinity Episcopal about a year and a half ago to address the intersection of human sexuality, gender identity, and sexual orientation in terms of our relationship to God and our spirituality and our faith. For many LGBTQ people, we feel a lot of rejection and hatred in our journey, and we end up leaving the church. And sometimes when we leave the church and our religious background, we also reject our spirituality. So our aim is to reconcile those differences and bring us back together in a spiritual way. So that was the formation of LGBTQ Trinity. So again, we welcome you here. We're glad to see you all. A few quick announcements. Of course, you've already seen all the refreshments over there, so feel free to continue to help yourself afterwards. If you need a bathroom, they're out there to my left through the door. We have books for sale on the table to your right, so feel free to go there and purchase books. Donation stations are on 2 different tables here in the parish hall if you choose to make a donation to help fund this event and other events of LGBTQ Trinity. We have our next upcoming event is called Soup and Sharing, which we did this past spring, which was a forum in which LGBTQ people, and to our surprise, a lot of parents and other people of LGBTQ people got together to discuss their journeys. And it was a really exciting and successful program. So we'll be redoing that again in February. So if you want to sign up for that, the sign up sheet out on the welcome table as well. And also, an outgrowth from LGBTQ Trinity was a new PFLAG chapter here in Santa Barbara, and there's information on the table over here to your right as well. After Frank finishes speaking, we will be having a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question, we have cards which Jean Alexander will have in her hand. You can grab one from her. You can write your questions down and hand them back to her, and then she'll present those to Frank. And then finally, I want to thank the committee for putting this together, but in particular, I want to thank Teresa Peach and Carrie Hamilton, if you'll wait. We worked tirelessly, and I can't emphasize that enough, to pull this event together, so we're grateful for their contribution to bringing this together. And then finally, also, we would like to thank our caterer for all the delicious food. Dave Williams. So thanks again very much, and I'm going to hand the mic back to Mark Asman, our rector at Trinity, to